Hi, Sudis. How are you doing? Welcome to Naya Sim. Thank you so much for the support. Hope you all are doing great. I know I am not like the biggest fan of China because of how they are penetrating into African countries. But at this point in time, this is a trade war between them and United States, and I am in support of them. Tomorrow, that doesn't mean that I am not going to switch up on them. I absolutely will still switch up on them, right? Now, I am going to say this. You and I know that this trade war that it's going on, US ain't winning because China is holding them on their neck very tight. That if they move like this, it's going to be deadly. Tell me how this man, I don't know who is this man's advisor. And he is saying China to call him. How is China going to call you? You started this. You have to look for a way to put it to an end. And I am going to use this opportunity to tell my people that you can actually slay amazingly well without buying those brands. Look for a way. Find those apps where you can buy literally everything affordable direct from China. Let it come back to you. Let it come to you. Now the economy is crashing. Everybody is seeing what Black people told them. They are all seeing why Black people said, do not vote for this person. Literally, all businesses are suffering as it stands. The masses are going to suffer already. Let's get into this video.
I told y'all yesterday that the United States will not win in a trade war against China. Hey y'all, I'm Tabitha. If you come across this video and are not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and click that subscribe button. I will be happy to have you. If you've come across my video out there on social media and aren't following me on any of my social media pages, please hit that follow button. I will be happy to have you, unless you MAGA. I don't do MAGA. But like I said, the United States will not win this trade war against China. I got me a few good keys on yesterday watching some of the China videos. Now, a lot of people are saying it's all coordinated. It's a coordinated attack because you can't get TikTok in China. So how are all of these China distributors putting out these videos? I don't think you can't get TikTok in China. I think you can get TikTok in China. I think the TikTok in China is totally different from our TikTok. I think the TikTok in China, the content looks more like what's over on Red Note. Yeah, because I remember seeing videos coming from creators over in China, but it's nothing like the videos that we're exposed to here in the United States. But yeah, China is clowning the United States real bad. But this one right here, this one's my favorite.
They rob you blind and you thank them for it. That's a tragedy. That's a scam. That's why I'm saying this right now. Americans, you don't need a tariff. You need a revolution. For decades, your government and oligarchs ship your job to China. Not for diplomacy, not for peace, but to exploit cheap laborers. And in the process, they hollowed out your middle class, crushed your working class, and told you to be proud while they sold your future for profit. And yes, China made money, but we used it to build roads, lift millions out of poverty, fund healthcare, raise living standard. We reinvested in our people. My family also benefited from it. What did your oligarchs do? They bought yachts, private jets, mansions with golf course driveways. They manipulate the market, dodge tax, and poured billions into endless wars. And you get stagnated wages, crippling healthcare cost, cheap dopamine, debt, and flag wave property made in China while they pick your pocket. For 40 years, both China and the United States benefit from the trade, the manufacturing, but only one of us use that wealth to build. This isn't China's fault. This is yours. You let this happen. You let the oligarchs feed you lies. Well, they made you fat, poor, and addicted. Now they blame China for mess they made. I don't think so. I don't think you need another tariff. You need to wake up. You need to take your country back. I think you need.
He ended the video by saying, I think you need a revolution. Listen, white America, he's talking to you. For decades, they've used your racism. They've used your hate towards Black people, Latino people, LGBTQIA plus people, women. They've used your racism and your hate for other marginalized communities to pick your pockets. For years, for decades, they used your hate and your racism, your desire to want to oppress other groups so that you can feel supreme. Yeah, they use that to build themselves wealth. Yeah, they told you that you were better than all the other marginalized communities. Donald Trump is doing that now. He's talking bad about marginalized communities while selling you a dream, and he is making a whole lot of money, and you aren't. The millionaires and billionaires that he surrounded himself with, they're making all sorts of money. And you aren't. And they got to be in these positions because they used your hate and your racism to get them into those positions. And now they are doing nothing for you. What they are doing benefits them, and they're using your pennies to do it. We don't have free health care in this country because you don't want Black people to have free health care. We have a serious homeless problem in this country. And why? Because you don't want the government to help Black people to get housing. You vote against everything that is in your best interest because you don't want Black people to have access to it. Yeah. You want Black people to stay in their place. Meanwhile, in doing that, the rich people are keeping you in yours. See, you think you have kinship with rich white people. You don't. They look down upon you. Yeah, your trailer park, their luxury. Hopefully one day you're going to wake up to it. I don't have faith in you, though. This is the game that they have been playing. Corporations, the millionaires and billionaires. This is the game that they have been playing for decades. And you've been voting for the ones who support the corporations and the millionaires and billionaires. Yeah, that's why you have crumbling roads and bridges. That's why your education in this country sucks. That's why when Black people got on TikTok and started talking about Black history, that's why you were clueless. You voted for the people that were against education. They didn't want you to know the truth about how this country operates. And so they used your hate and your racism to get what they wanted done. You voted for low wages. You voted for lack of health care. You voted for no housing. You voted for poor quality of food. That's what you voted for. And you did it all because you thought it will keep Black people, Latino people down. And it worked. It worked. But now you are waking up. You are waking up to the fact that you thought it was just Black people that were going to be harmed by the Republicans' policies. You're waking up to realize that you are doing just as bad, if not worse. All by your doing. So don't be mad with China when you look at their videos and they're showing you how well they are living, how the cost of living is so low and so affordable. Free health care. They don't pay property taxes. Their food is healthy. Don't be mad with China. Be mad with yourselves. Because as you look at your horrible, pitiful life compared to that of the people over in China, I'm here to remind you that this is what you voted for. And as I head out, I want to remind you, the United States will never win this trade war against China. As part as the trade between China and the United States, China would import beef and chicken into their country, bringing billions of dollars into the United States. Farmers doing well. China has now suspended importing chicken and beef and sorghum. China will now be getting their beef from Australia. Truth be told, the beef in Australia is probably more healthy than the beef that they were getting from the United States. In addition to that, China has halted exporting rare earth and other materials to the United States. Can you say up Schitt's Creek without a paddle? Beijing has restricted the export of 7 rare earths and related materials used across the defense, energy, and automotive industries as part of its retaliation against the United States and Donald Trump. Exporters must now apply to the Ministry of Commerce for licenses, a relatively opaque process that can range from 6 or 7 weeks to several months. Yeah, the United States will not win this trade war with China. And you got Donald Trump talking about, China call me. China ain't calling Donald Trump for shit. China does not need the United States for shit. And the United States can't force China to do trade with this country. Buckle up, buttercups. I see some real tough days ahead.
China dominates the global economy because it embraces what America fears most, real labor. While the West chases branding and financial bubbles, China built an entire empire on actual production. And now their rise exposes a fatal flaw in white capitalism's disdain for work. For centuries, white economic elites have structured society around avoiding labor, while extracting it from others. Enslaved Africans built the global South's wealth, while European aristocrats and plantation owners positioned themselves as gentlemen, a tradition that frames manual labor as racially inferior. After slavery, Jim Crow and other exploitative labor laws kept Black and immigrant workers in underpaid production roles, while white capitalists rebranded themselves as managers, investors, and entrepreneurs. The Industrial Revolution amplified this divide. White industrialists like Carnegie and Rockefeller glorified themselves as self-made, while their fortunes rested on child labor, immigrant sweatshops, and violent union suppression. By the late 20th century, America began offshoring its labor to China, not just for cheap wages, but because whiteness had fully divorced itself from the stigma of manual labor. U.S. executives justified this by labeling manufactured jobs as low skill a racially coded term, while pouring money into marketing, financing, and branding, industries that produce nothing tangible but generate massive profits through psychological manipulation. Meanwhile, China weaponizes America's labor aversion. They built the world's most efficient manufacturing base, not just by making goods, but by mastering supply chains, infrastructure, and real productivity. Now China controls 80% of global solar paneling, 70% of lithium refining, 50% of shipbuilding, while the US economy relies on inflating stock value, branding hollow luxuries, and predatory gig work. Now, what is the result? China's GDP has grown 40 times since 1990. US wages stagnate as labor is devalued and jobs are replaced with hustle culture. America's infrastructure crumbles while China builds high-speed railways, smart cities, and AI-driven factories. White capitalism's contempt for labor has left America with a failing economy, one where finance bros are richer than engineers, influencers out-earn factory workers, and branding is valued over building. China's dominance proves that real power comes from production, not propaganda. The US can either confront its racist labor hierarchy or reinvest in real work, or watch as the next century belongs to those who aren't afraid to get their hands dirty.
Donald Trump and JD Vance and MAGA supporters do not understand about China is that China is in a completely different realm of their own. This is precisely why I say Americans need a reality check, because if you actually believe you can bully China into doing whatever you want them to do, you are sorely mistaken. China has faced numerous amounts of wars, genocides, invasions, civil wars, etc. You name it. They have been through it. The Sino-Japanese, Indian, and Vietnamese War, the Korean War, and the Chinese Civil War. This is particular to the 20th century, by the way. This is not including their 1,000 years worth of history. China has faced destruction many times over throughout the centuries. They had 2 opium wars against the Qing dynasty and Western countries. One of their biggest wars ever recorded was the Taiping War that lasted 14 years, stretching all across 17 provinces. 20 million people died during the Taiping Rebellion. However, one of the most important battles in Chinese history is the Battle of the Red Cliffs in 208 AD. It's still relatively talked about today because the battle itself was a narrative of David and Goliath. Millions upon millions of people died during the creation, evolution, and the awakening of China of what it is today. Some of you might be wondering, well, what is so important about this? That is one of the main reasons why their envelopes are red every time they celebrate Chinese New Year. It is to appreciate and to give thanks to all the blood and sacrifices that was spilled on China's soil. China is one of the most diverse countries in the world, with many Africans and Black people and many different ethnicities and minorities residing in the country. Culture is vast, complex, with many different philosophies, religion, and much more. Despite all of their differences and unique features, all of them are Chinese. Their origins, their ethnicities, and their culture is what makes them who they are. But under that flag, they're all Chinese. The Hans, the Tibetans, the Uyghurs, they all have their own thing, but they're all united as one at the end of the day. It does not matter your race. It doesn't matter what you come from. It doesn't matter how light you are or dark you are. Under that flag, you are one of them. Something that America will never achieve, unfortunately. Not to mention the immense amount of support that China is giving to the African continent, recruiting African countries into their ranks and helping Africa escape the grasp of Europe and America. There is a lot of history and diplomatic relationships of why I respect China. But I also have a lot of personal feelings of why I also respect Chinese people and China as a whole. So I would say this from the deepest part of my soul. Donald Trump, JD Vance, and MAGA supporters, if you genuinely believe that you can bully China into getting them to do what you want to do, you are foolish as you look. From a country that has lived around for thousands upon thousands of years, with millions upon millions of people that has shed blood and sacrifice for their country, compared to a country that has barely been around for 400 years, you need a fucking reality check. And I genuinely, from the deepest part of my soul, I hope they deliver it to you. That's all I gotta say. I'm gone.
It's funny as hell how China, who don't even have TikTok, is now flooding TikTok with all the secrets. China don't even have TikTok, but yet now they flood the pages with how people been getting ripped off for years. All this happened because of y'all dear leader Donald Trump. They was gonna let everybody have their secrets and trick people into buying like this the real thing. Now they coming out like, no, everything is made here, right here behind this warehouse, $2. And then it come to us, 400, 500. So I don't know what Trump then did to these people. These people has now taken over TikTok, and they don't even have TikTok. They got their own called Red Note. But now you see all these people saying, buy from me. You can buy directly from me. I saw one of them say, you can buy 34 pair of shoes for $10. The real thing. So, Trump, you done messed up on this one. China's about to win the trade war. They about to win the minds of the people who was buying that garbage. They about to shut down these scams, what these people doing. So, China is taking over TikTok again, y'all. Letting us know the real grittiness to this shit. Shit crazy. Should have left him alone, dog. Should have left him alone, dog.
This country is very powerful. We have weaponry that nobody has any idea what it is, and it is the most powerful weapons in the world that we have.
You have the most powerful weapon in the world, yet you can't feed and house your people. You have the most powerful weapon in the world that nobody's seen before, yet your people can't see themselves employed. Your people can't see themselves with a livable wage. What Tupac say? You have weapons for war but can't feed the poor. What is it to have the most powerful weapon in the world? 500 military bases across the world, across the globe, bullying nations into subjugation, yet your very own people don't get to reap the reward of your spoils of war. Your people live in a nation right now that are struggling, don't have adequate access to health care, education down the fucking drain, infrastructure to hell, babe. But you want to get on the stage and brag about having the most powerful weapon in the fucking world. What is to have the most powerful weapon in the world? You know what it's giving me? It's giving me big balls, giving me big ball, big dick energy, but you flaccid. With your 500 bases, like I say, across the globe, bullying other people while sacrificing your very own people from home. And when they come home, all them profits that y'all made from them war, they don't get to see a fucking dollar. From them fucking profits, they don't get to see a fucking dollar. They out in the streets dealing with a mental health crisis. Your veterans that you sent out there to utilize all this powerful weaponry that you got out there come back to a home where they don't have a fucking home. And that's the fucking truth. And everything that I've just said right now, even your base would agree, boo. You fighting with China right now that literally lifted their people out of fucking poverty. Prioritized education. Prioritized healthcare. All the while you are bragging about a weapon that who's gonna fund besides the very people that you can't do the same for. You out here braggadocious about the most powerful weapon nobody has seen underneath the sun. That who gonna fund? The very people that you texted out of oblivion to pay for your hot-ass military industrial complex budget, son? Nah, I'll tell you one thing. The most powerful weapon, the most powerful bullet or a bomb shouldn't mean shit to a nation that's struggling with houselessness, food insecurities, a mental health illness crisis, inadequate healthcare resources, inadequate access to healthcare. So answer me this, at the end of the day, what does the most powerful weapon in the world that nobody has seen before mean to a nation of fucking zombies? Coming from a nation of fucking zombies. So you can get on the stage and talk about the most powerful weapon in the world. I hope with those that fucking got sense and respect for themselves, it can literally register and not mean shit. Okay.
This is all I got from this video. And I think this trade war that it's going on was ordained to happen. Some people will be like, what do you mean by ordained to happen? Yeah, it was ordained to happen because this is also like a very, very great thing that happened so everybody can learn, both old and small, both white and whichever color you are. Because seeing the fact that anyway, how do I even explain the fact that America has been exploiting other world and also brands, capitalism, and all that has always been the order of the day. Now, the truth is that I feel like America cannot win this trade war. Why? Because China is grounded. When I say China is grounded, I don't know. I think China is the another center. Aside from America being like the world headquarters, like and all that. But I think the main headquarters is actually China because literally China produces for almost everybody when it comes to business. And you all know that our business is what keeps every country afloat. Without business, each country won't even have something to talk about. So China is more like the one holding that hammer, right? They got the knife for it. How did this trade war started? It started with tariffs because you all have an incompetent, because that is how I feel. I feel like that man is incompetent of handling America. He is not aware of presidential business. Because if he is aware, I am sure all these mistakes and all these things he is doing won't be happening. Because tell me how somebody woke up to start a trade war with the countries that are very important or countries that are also allied to you. I didn't know what he was thinking. He probably thought that when he puts the tariff on other countries are going to relax and probably watch him do his thing without retaliating. But no, all of them are ready because you can't continue to gaslight somebody and think one day the person will come back and fight back, right? I know so well that America is used to being authoritative. Like they want to be in everybody's business, which they are actually in. They want to be the one in control of everything going on, forgetting that there is a limit to what you can do. There are some politics or policies that are good for your country. There are some that are not good for your country. As it stands, not just small businesses, both small, big, and all that enterprise are suffering it. While they are suffering it, the billionaires are smiling, right? And the masses are the one that will go through it. But I love the fact that capitalism, this is not like being the end of capitalism, except you are a fool, right? Because with everything going on, with the way Chinese are opening up to people about how the market is, tells a whole lot. And not just only showing them how the market works, at the same time opening the market for people to buy direct. I mean, like so many brands are going to crumble this. You see what is going on this year? Kendrick Lamar made it clear, and it is really happening. It will be televised. Are you all not seeing it so far? Right? US, they don't have universal basic. Sometimes I know US is a very powerful country. This is something that I am not going to take away from you people, right? But majority of the time, they act so stupid, so dumb. I know what I am saying. Because sometimes I sit down and compare America to some countries that I am very conversant with their politics. And I find out that there are so many loopholes, a lot of loopholes. The stock market is crashing, economy is sinking. I hope you are not part of the people that are still defending this administration. But one thing I want to let you all know is that America ain't winning this war, trade war. And I am also going to advise my own people enough of buying those designers. Those are labels. You can slay cheap too. You can slay affordable. Buy from China. I know China are not the best but at this point in time, it is a trade war between them and United States. That's why I am supporting them. Because white people really need to wake up. Black people been telling them, they thought it was all joke. Bye for now.